Yeah. Okay, somebody sing. Who will sing? Sharada,
Sure, uncle.
sing now. Or bhajan.
Sure. Uncle. Krishna Krishna Manamana, Krishna Krishna Manamana, Chitta Chora Radha Jivana, Chitta Chora Radha Jivana, Meghashyama Madhusudana, Meghashyama Madhusudana, Radha Kanta Yadunandana, Radha Kanta Yadunandana, Krishna Krishna Manamana. Krishna 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 Jai Jai Govinda, 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 Krishna Jai Jai Govinda. Hari Om.
Ma, you are singing. Are you singing? Girijamma.
பாடுறேன்.
பாடுங்க.
இது பால்விஹார்ல சொல்லி கொடுத்த பஜன். मेरा कान्हा बड़ा अलबेला, मेरी मटकी को मार गयो ढेरा। मेरा कान्हा बड़ा अलबेला, मेरी मटकी को मार गयो ढेरा। कभी गंगा किनारे कभी जमुना किनारे, कभी गंगा किनारे कभी जमुना किनारे, कभी सरयू किनारे अकेला, मेरी मटकी को मार गयो ढेरा। मेरा कान्हा बड़ा अलबेला, मेरी मटकी को मार गयो ढेरा। कभी गौओं के संग कभी ग्वालों के संग, कभी गौओं के संग कभी ग्वालों के संग, कभी गोपियों के संग अकेला, मेरी मटकी को मार गयो ढेरा। मेरा कान्हा बड़ा अलबेला, मेरी मटकी को मार गयो ढेरा। कभी मीरा के संग कभी रुक्मणी के संग, कभी मीरा के संग कभी रुक्मणी के संग, कभी राधा के संग अकेला, मेरी मटकी को मार गयो ढेरा। मेरा कान्हा बड़ा अलबेला, मेरी मटकी को मार गयो ढेरा। कभी संतों के संग कभी भक्तों के संग, कभी संतों के संग कभी भक्तों के संग, कभी बच्चों के संग अकेला, मेरी मटकी को मार गयो ढेरा। मेरा कान्हा बड़ा अलबेला, मेरी मटकी को मार गयो ढेरा। कभी व्यास के संग कभी वाल्मीकि के संग, कभी व्यास के संग कभी वाल्मीकि के संग, कभी चिन्मया के संग अकेला, मेरी मटकी को मार गयो ढेरा। मेरा कान्हा बड़ा अलबेला, मेरी मटकी को मार गयो ढेरा। हरि ओम।
Thank you. Kabir
Uncle, favorite bhajan.
Ama, that's what I say. You know, I was expecting all the days for you to sing this. All the days. This is my favorite.
I was waiting for one of those days. Birthday இல்லனா ராஸ் லீலா போது பாடலாம் அப்படினு.
Yeah. வரட்டும். அதையும் பாடுங்க. அது வரப்போறது நிறைய ஃபங்க்ஷன்ஸ் இருக்கு. அதுல எல்லாம் பாடுங்க. Is my favorite. सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् ततो जयमुदीरये या पाडुंगा गीता गोविंदम गोपिका
वेदिकं कृष्ण जन्मना व्रज श्रयत इंदिरा कृष्ण शश्वदत्रहि दैत दृश्यतां कृष्ण दिक्षुतावका वैधृता सभा कृष्ण त्वां विचिन्वते शरदुष्दाशये कृष्ण साधु जातसत् सरसिजोदर कृष्ण श्रीमुषादृश सुरतनाथ ते कृष्ण शुल्कदासिका वरधनिघ्नतो कृष्ण नेह किं वदः विषजलाप्ययात् कृष्ण व्यालराक्षसात् वर्षमारुतात् कृष्ण वैद्यतानुलात् वृषमयामृजात् कृष्ण विश्वतो भयात् ऋषभते वयं कृष्ण रक्षिता मुहुः न खलु गोपिका कृष्णानन्दनो भवान् अखिल देहिनां कृष्ण अन्तरात्मदृक् विखन साथितो कृष्ण विश्वगुप्तये सख उदेयिवान् कृष्ण सात्वतां कुले विरचिता भयं कृष्ण वृष्णिदुर्यते चरणमीयुषां कृष्ण संस्कृतेर्भयात् करसरोरुहं कृष्ण कान्तकामदं शिरसि देहिन कृष्ण श्रीकराग्रहम् व्रजजनार्तिहन् कृष्ण वीरयोषितां निज जनस्मय कृष्ण ध्वांसनस्मित भज सखे भवात् कृष्ण किं करिस्मनो जलरुहाननं कृष्ण चारुदर्शय प्रणत देहिनां कृष्ण पापकर्षणं तृणच्चनानुगं कृष्ण श्रीनिकेतनं फणिफणार्पितं कृष्ण ते पदाम्बुजं कृणुकुचेचुन कृष्ण कृन्दिहृच्छयम् मधुरया गिरा कृष्णावल्गुवाक्यया बुधमनोज्ञया कृष्ण पुष्करे क्षण विधिकरीरिमा कृष्ण वीरमुख्य यति अधरसि धुना कृष्ण आप्ययस्वन तव कथामृतं कृष्ण तप्त जीवनम कविभिरीडितं कृष्ण कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलं कृष्ण श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ते कृष्ण
कृष्ण पूजिता जनाः रहसितं प्रिय
Yes. Yeah. 1 second, please. 1 second. Hari Om. Am I audible? Yesterday there was some problem.
Today it's clear, uncle.
Clear.
It's clear.
Good.
It's clear.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
yes clear
Very good. You see, when man evolves or at the time of extreme distress, he starts inquiring, is there no solution for this? Is this all the reality? Is there something beyond this? It is at that time that he inquires his very source. How did he come? Where from he came? And thus, seeking the source and the creation becomes the most important aspects of religion. Most of our Upanishads deal with creation. Mundaka, Taitriya, Prasna, Brihadaranyaka, Mandukya, all of them deal with creation. Even Bible, Genesis, that is the first chapter. Genesis. So, Sri Gurudev says it beautifully. Let me read it out. To the system which regards creation as illusory and the innumerable types of evolves as a mere delusion, the theories of evolution are in fact of no importance, and yet some kind of an explanation to be given to the seeker in his early days of studies. And hence, according to the psychological type to which the student belongs, an explanation is given on the creation of the world of plurality, which is so very real to him at this stage of evolution. In fact, all the Upanishads ultimately take the students to the planes of the absolute reality, from where, when viewed, creation of the multiplicity of the world is but a delusion and a myth. Okay? So how does this happen anyway? Even if it is a delusion, how does the delusion happen? See, all forms are in God. Because God is all inclusive. Nothing beyond him. So when these forms move about in his presence, they get animated and they feel they are real. And these animated beings are exactly the dream characters. In dream also same thing happens. Our thoughts parade before the consciousness, they get animated and they assume they are real. That is the creation which is not there, appears to be there, unreal both in waking and dream. Anyway, even then, even if you are creating through your own mind, you fancy several things. And in that fancy, you start creating something till you are satisfied. Brahmaji also started creating various species, various things. He was not happy many a time. He dismantled and all that. And many a time he got into trouble creating these asuras and gandharvas and all that. He started running for his life. Finally, he settled to create man and women. Shatarupa and, Manu's name. Shatarupa is the lady. Anyway, doesn't matter. Manu and his consort Shatarupa. Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa. Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa. And then when he created Swayambhu Manu, asked him to multiply the world. The world has to be multiplied because there are several cells, several minute life atoms wanting evolution. Unless the multiplication is done, they will never evolve. So that is why Brahmaji asked Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa to multiply the world. Swayambhu Manu said, okay. And then he saw earth is missing. He said, where will I create? Where will people stay? Then only Brahma also realized earth is missing. Earth has been looted away, not land grabbing by piecemeal. Whole globe has been looted away by Hiranyaksha. It's not piecemeal looting. Whole earth has been taken away by Hiranyaksha. And therefore, when he was worried what to do, suddenly some insect-like came from his nose. And then he found it is Varaha Swarupa. That insect became, in a short while, like Himalayas, such big form. And that Varaha Murti, also called Yajna Murti, because his whole body has several aspects of Yajna. He is called Yajna Murti. That Varaha Murti lifted the earth. Now, why did Bhagavan has to take Varaha avatar for this? Because firstly, you have to sense where the earth is. Varaha sniff and find out through the nose. Therefore, Varaha avatara to sniff and find out. Then, to lift, you need tusks. Therefore, Varaha avatara. And now, who is this Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu? Hiranyaksha means, Aksha means eyes. Hiranya means gold. one whose eyes are all the time on material, prosperity, acquisitions, aggrandizement, etc. Hiranyakashipu, his brother, means Kashipu means bed, one who sleeps on the bed of gold. Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, two brothers. Who are they? They were the gatekeepers of Jaya and Vijaya of Sri Narayana in Vaikuntha. They were good people, but little ego was there. So when Sanat Kumaras went, they tried to obstruct them with a stick, not even merely say, no, you need permission. They started wielding a stick. Sanat Kumara said, in Vaikuntha, such people, how did you come here? In Vaikuntha, people who distinguish, differentiate, like politics, how did you come here? You are not fit to be here. You must be thrown out. And then, hearing the commotion, Narayana comes out and asks what happened. When he saw this happen, he praised the Sanat Kumaras. I am fortunate to have your darshan. And this fellow needs a correction. He did not misbehave only with you. Once even Lakshmi wanted to enter, he stopped. Little egoistic. I have to correct them. Any correction, any evolution can only take place on earth. So you rightly curse them to be thrown out to earth. You have rightly done that. And then he gives an option to these Jaya Vijaya. You can be my bhaktas on the earth, but it will take number of lives because positive thoughts are not that strong, that penetrating as negative thoughts. Positive or negative, when you think of God, the mind takes the form of God. Since positive thoughts are not very effective, you be my enemy. Continuously hate me, so that in 3 quick lives I will bring you back here, cleansed. You are going for therapy, purification. So they were sent because he loves his devotees. They took 3 avatars. Bhagavan, to bring them back, took 4 avatars. And they were brought. These are the sons of Kashyapa and Diti. Diti saw Aditi had several sons, she had no children. So, against all rules of Dharma, she forced Kashyapa to impregnate her, and therefore these people were born. Then she regretted. Kashyapa said, do not worry, your grandson will be highly respected devotee. That was Prahlada. So that was the story of Swayambhu Manu reclaiming the earth and started creating. He had 3 daughters, Ahuti, Devahuti, Prasuti. Out of them, all of them were given to Daksha Prajapatis, who has to multiply children. Out of them, Devahuti has been given to Kardama Muni. And Kardama Muni was still meditating even after marriage. Number of years passed. Suddenly he saw a old woman there. He remembered, oh, this is my wife Devahuti. So he said, thank you for serving me. Now I should compensate you. So he asked her, and she also said, I need to go through the family life. So he makes her young. He also becomes young. And through his tapo bala, he creates a lovely vimana. In those days, houses are also called vimana because I think they can fly wherever they like, the houses themselves. multi-roomed palace, and then they spent good time there in swimming pools and all that, created 9 daughters, gave it to rishis. Then Kardama Muni said, now it is time for me to retire for my Vanaprastha meditation. I will leave you. Devahuti said, we wasted all our time in material pursuits. I also want to get jnana. You have to give me a son and go. Because daughters will be married, you are leaving, I will be alone. What will I do? He said, don't worry. Narayana himself will be born in you. And thus Narayana took Kapilavatar in Devahuti's womb, and he was born to teach her Vedanta, the Sankhyan philosophy, and he started teaching her. Let us go through some verses. Because it is Vedanta, let us see some of the verses. They are beautiful. Devahuti asks, Nirvinna nitaram bhuman asadindriya tarshanat yena sambhavyamanena prapannandham tamah prabho tasyatvam tamaso andhasya dushparasya adyaparagam tachakshuhu janmanamante labdham me tvadanugrahat ya adye bhagavan pumsan ishvaro Vaibhavan kila lokasya tamasandasya chakruhu surgeva uditaha atha medeva sammoham apakartum tvam arhasi tam tva gataham sharanyam. You should remove this delusion of mind. Why? Tva, to you, gata, aham sharanyam, I have surrendered. For what? Nirvinna, nitaram bhuman, asadindriya tarshana. We have been sucked of all our vitalities by the false senses, because of which we have completely been in darkness, in ignorance. And you should remove this darkness like the sun. S-O-N. Here, sorry, S-U-N. He is the sun, S-O-N. She says, as S-U-N, you remove my darkness. And it is my good luck that you have been born to me, the one who can remove this darkness. So please remove. Kapila answers. Kapila Muni answers. Chetaha kalu asya bandhaya muktayecha atmano matam guneshu saktam bandhaya ratam va pumsi muktaye. Chetaha kalu asya bandhaya muktayecha atmano matam. Bondage and liberation belong to the mind. Guneshu saktam, attachment to objects, bandhaya, that is bondage. Ratam va punsi muktaye, reveling in one's own self is liberation. In fact, the whole bondage is our mind only. As I said, I think on the very first day, nothing that you have no value can ever give you sorrow. And what gives joy to somebody doesn't have, somebody has no interest. What gives joy to that somebody, the other person have no interest. So it is purely our mind. It is our mind that tyrannizes. That's why there was a book, I think, held hostage by mind. Otherwise also, you are a combination of matter and spirit. Spirit is ever free. Matter is inert. It doesn't need liberation. Then who is seeking liberation? Who is to get liberation? It's the mind only. You have to come out of the clutches of your mind, likes and dislikes, prejudices. Come out of your mind, judgments, and discover you to be that God. This is called liberation. Liberation is not a post-mortem status in a different place. Liberation is right now when you decide enough is enough. Oh, mind, you do your duty. I don't want to even stop. I don't recognize you. You make me sad. Okay, I will watch your mischief. You make me angry. I will watch your mischief. I have nothing to do with you, but you are in me. My destiny has to go through, and some people's destiny connected with me has to go through. My vasanas have to be exhausted. You play your role. I will enjoy it as an observer. That liberation is possible right now to you as you are listening, because it doesn't say quieten the mind, make the mind zero, get into samadhi without thoughts. No, sir. You don't have to do anything. Just detach from the mind and say, I am not the mind. Finished, you are liberated. Mind will do its mischief. It will make you angry. It will give you sorrow. Understand that all belongs to the mind. You are not the mind. That's all you have to do. That's liberation. So all the bondage and liberation belong to the mind. How does that start? Aham, mama, abhimana uttaihi, kama lobhadivihi, malaihi, vitam yada manaha, suddham adukkam asukham samam. When the mind is freed from abhimana, identification, with aham and mama, the problem starts for all of us thinking that I'm the body. Aham is beautiful because it's common to all. That is Bhagavan. Aham, ah to hum. That is whatever you can name, whatever you can say, whatever you would all come within the two letters, ah the first letter, ah the last letter. Everything is aham. I. You also start identifying, giving your idea, I also say I. Another thing also common, I the life, consciousness, therefore I am speaking. Another thing, I am existence. Consciousness, existence is me. That is common to all of us. Then I am so and so. That is because you feel you are the body, aham. Then you feel you are this community, you are this country, you are this religion, you are this family, mama, aham, mama, I and mine. These are the two manifestations of pseudo entity called the ego. Aham, mama, abhimana uttaihi, kama lo madhavi. Because of this, your desires, etc., project, and they become the mala, dirt covering the consciousness. When that is gone, yada manaha. When is it that you know it is gone? Suddham adukkam asukham samam. When you feel sukha and dukkha are the same. Why? How can you feel sukha and dukkha are the same? Please listen, these are all very important points. When can you say sukha and dukkha are same? A gnani doesn't feel pain when the leg is cut. If he doesn't feel the pain when the leg is cut, he should not also feel hungry and he should not eat. We have seen all Jnanis eating. So Gnani has hunger, so Gnani will also have pain. Then how can you treat Sukha and Dukkha same? Gnani knows Sukha and Dukkha belong to the mind, hunger belongs to the body, I am not the body, I am not the mind, and thus he has no value for Sukha, he has no value for Dukkha. If you have a value for Sukha, you cannot escape Dukkha, because it is your value for Sukha that brings you Dukkha. Whatever was spoken last 5 minutes was spoken by Gurudev to you. Listen again and again. Yada suddham adukkam asukam tamam tada purusha atmanam kevalam prakrute param nirantaram swayam jyotihi abhimanam akhanditam jnana vairagya yuktena bhakti yuktena cha atmana paripashyanti udasinam prakritim cha taujasam. When this aham mama mischief is done, then they see the Purusha, Bhagavan, kevalam prakrute param, beyond all these modifications and prakriti, nirantaram, the infinite, swayam jyotihi, self-refulgent, animanam akhanditam, subtle and undivided, jnana vairagya yuktena, through the combination of jnana and vairagya and devotion, bhakti yuktena, cha atmanaha, in themselves, paripashyanti, they have a clear vision, udasinam, then they become indifferent, because prakritim cha hatojasam, the onslaught of prakriti, the onslaught of maya, the onslaught of vasanas have been weakened in this man. Yujyamanaya bhaktya bhagavatya kilatmani sadrusho asti shiva panta yoginam brahma siddhaye. Na yujyamanaya bhaktya. There is no greater path than associating, identifying, alienating yourself with Bhagavan. There is no Shiva Panta, auspicious path, greater than this to achieve that highest state of Brahman. Is it possible? Is it simple? Beautiful, my verse, my favorite verse. Lalita will now close her this thing and walk off, because she knows I repeat this like a parrot. Prasanga majaram pasamatmanaha kavayo viduhu saeva sadhushu kruto bhokshadvaram apavrutam. Prasangam, extreme attachment. Sangam, attachment. Prasangam, extreme attachment. Ajaram, strong. Jara means old age, weak. Ajaram, strong. Pasham, rope. Atmanaha, that binds you. Kavayo viduhu, the knowers of truth, the seers know. Now this attachment is strong. You can't get out of it. What to do? Mind has to get attached to something or other. It's impossible for the mind to get detached. What will you do? Sayeva sadhushu kruto mokshadvaram apart. Turn the mind's attention to sadhus. Let it get attached to them. In that attachment, this attachment leaves. I gave you the example the other day. When you go to temple, you see several things. Your mind doesn't go into them. Your mind is only on God. Satsangatve nissangatvam nissangatve nirmohatvam. When you get attached to satsang, nissanga is spontaneous. And when there is nissanga, nirmohatvam, no delusion. When there is no delusion, jivan mukti, though you are in this very body, you are liberated. That only he says, prasanga majaram pashamatmanaha. This rope of attachment is too strong. What to do? That rope, you connect it to sadhus. Get attached to them. Then this other secondary attachments, the false attachments will drop off. And then who is a sadhu? Saeva titikshavah karunikaha suhrudaha sarvadehinam ajata shatravaha shantaha sadhavaha sadhu bhushanaha. Titikshavah, they endure all pain because they know this is the destiny of the body, mind, intellect, and they take all pain, even given by others. They know that it is their prarabdha connected to your prarabdha. Both of you have come with a contract, and Bhagavan is the executor of that contract. So that is prarabdha. Titikchavaha, they endure. Karunikaha, they endure their pain. But when they see pain in others, they are very compassionate. Karunikaha, suhrudaha sarvabhutanam. They are friends of all beings. Sarvadehinam. Ajata shatravaha. There is no enemy born to them. What do you mean by that? There is no enemy born to them. Is the enemy in a person? Mr. X is a friend of Mr. Y, enemy of Mr. Z. Now is Mr. X a friend or an enemy? It is the mind of X that sees the friend in Mr. It is the mind of Y that sees the friend in Mr. X. Is the mind of Z that sees the enemy in Mr. X. Therefore, Mr. X is neither a friend or enemy. It's your own mind. There's a beautiful sentence. When Peter talks about Paul, he talks more about Peter than Paul. Right? So when you see somebody as a Shatru, it's your mind. Ajata Shatru, he cannot see anybody as his enemy. Ajata Shatru, Shantaha, peaceful, because they have no value of anything in the world. Sadhavaha, these are the sadhus. Find out. Get attached to them. Like a leech. Satsanga. Search. Hold it on. Never leave it. That's the only thing that can save you. And then he says, he gives a beautiful definition of Atma. Anadi Atma Purushaha Prakrute Paraha Pratyak Dhama Swayam Jyotihi Vishram Yena Samanvitam. This world is pervaded by that Atma who is there inside you. Pratyak Dhama Swayam Jyotihi, self-resplendent. You don't need any other light to see this Atma, because without this Atma, you cannot see anything, you cannot think anything, you cannot hear anything. That is that Atma that makes all your perceptions possible. That subject, Swayam Jyotihi, you don't need any other instrument to know that. Vishram Yena Samadnitam is pervaded, it pervades the entire universe. And then there is lovely another verse. Atraiva naraka swarga heti mataha prachachate ya yatana vai narakyasta ihapi alakshitaha. Heaven and hell can be seen in this world itself. He doesn't say they are not there, but here itself you can see, because you can see people are happy because their minds are pure. Here you can see people are torturing themselves because their minds are impure. Heaven and hell are two sides of the same mind. And then there is another beautiful verse here. Yatha indriyehi prutak dvaraihi artaha bahugunasrayaha eko nanayate tadvad bhagavan shastravatmabi. You see a laddu. I see the laddu to be round. Nose smells the fragrance. Hand touches the softness. Tongue tastes the sweetness. One laddu, different senses see it differently. Similarly, one Bhagavan is seen by others as differently according to their mind. One Bhagavan. And then he doesn't say, this is the best part of that sloka. He doesn't say, all see one Bhagavan differently. Shastra Vatmabihi, people who revel in the words of the Shastras. That is, people who are only reveling in letter and not the spirit. And then Bhakti. She asks about bhakti because that's the solution. True bhakti, he gives beautiful this thing. Lakshanam mahadadinam prakrutehe purushasya cha swarupam lakshate amisham yena tat paramarthikam bhakti yogasya me margam bruhi vistarasha. Kindly tell me that bhakti marga. He says, bhakti yogo bahivido marge bhamini bhavyati swabhava guna margena pumsa bhavo vibhidyate. Bhakti differs according to the man's temperament. What are the various bhaktis according to the temperament? Abhisandaya, yohimsam, dambham, mascharya evava, samrambhi, bhinna drugbhavam, mai kurya, sa tamasaha. The lowest of bhakti is thinking that they are pleasing me to get something. They harm others. Recently also, maybe 10-15 years back, we have read more than 2-3 times in the papers somebody slaughtering his own child because some tantric man must have said you will get prosperity. And any bhakti that involves himsa, that is called tamasic bhakti. Rajasic bhakti, what is it? Vishayan abhisandaya yasha aishwaryameva archada varchayedyam mam prudak bhavaha sa rajasaha. One who, with lot of articles and all that, for the sake of glory and prosperity, worships me, but sees me to be different from him. Prudak bhavaha. That is Rajasic Bhakti. What is Sattvic Bhakti? Karma nirhara muddishya parasmin va tadarpanam yajed yashtavyamiti va prudak bhavaha sa sattvikaha. Sattvika is to reduce the vasanas. He worships me because this should be done. That is Sattvika. That's also not the highest because Sattva is also binding. That is Sattvika. What is the highest? That is the next. Mad guna sruti matrena mayi sarva guhase manogate avichinna yata Ganga Mambaso Ambudau. Just as effortlessly Ganga meets the ocean, people who have, when they hear my name, my glories, my kirtan, my stories, just when they listen, just like the rivers merge effortlessly into the ocean, their minds merge in me. That is the highest. Abhichinna, undivided. Yatha Gangam Basu Ambudau Lakshanam Bhakti Yogasya Nirgunasya. These are the 4 types of devotees. And then he says, Aham Sarveshu Bhuteshu Bhutatma Vastitaha Yada Tam Avagnaya Mam Martyaha Kurte Archa Vidambanam. Not knowing me to be there in everybody's heart. He discriminates people, even in puja, even in yajna, even in this thing. Hey, Angere, you don't come here. Those people doing bhajan, bhakti is a waste, he says. You are like pouring oblations into ashes. That bhakti, where you discriminate people and not see me in all, that bhakti is low type. Yomam sarveshu bhuteshu santamatmanam ishwaram hitva archam bhajate maughyat bhasmani eva juhotisa. Bhasmani in the ashes, pouring oblations. Vishataha parakayeshu ma mudhino bhinna darshinaha bhuteshu baddha vairagyasya na manaha shaktim ruchati. They will not get peace when they hate people, the people in whom I am sitting. That bhakti is useless. Now, this is the third sarga. This is the third chapter of the third skanda, which deals with sarga. Next is visarga. Visarga is, as I told you, is for the multiplication of creation through the addition of gunas, through the original principles. Through the original principles of 5 bhutas, 5 sense instincts, and 5 indriyas, and intellect. 16 aspects sarga. With them, guna is added, and visarga is done by Brahmaji. And for that, the main people used are the Daksha Prajapatis. The first story is of Daksha Prajapati, and who were all descendants of Atri Anasuya. That one chapter is given where they did tapas, and both Narayana, Shiva, and Brahma were all 3 were born into them as children. Brahma as Chandra, Narayana as Dattatreya, Shiva as Durvasa, and then the various Daksha Prajapatis evolved. This Daksha Prajapati, what is Daksha? Adept. Adept in what? Karmas. Why karmas? To purify. How purify? Through yajnas. Why yajnas? Because in Bhagavad Gita he says, Saha yajna praja suštva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasishwadvam yesha vahatu istakama dhuk. This will be your milk cow. This will multiply all whatever you want. So for multiplication, yajna is the means. So Daksha Prajapati adept in yajnas, but they may be adept. Still the Veda Bhavana is there, high and low is there, ego is there, Katrutva Bhavana is there. That has to be corrected. Correction of that in Daksha Prajapati by the compassionate Lord is the story of Daksha Prajapati. When he moves, everybody gets up. Shiva didn't get up. Shiva is a gnani. For him, nobody high, nobody low. So he didn't get up. This man is ego. My son-in-law, he's so egoistic, he didn't get up. So I won't give him share in this yajna. And then curses, counter curses by Nandi and by Bhrigu all happen. Ultimately, before even the story goes to Shiva, Sati, Daksha's daughter, sees all aeroplanes going to her father's place. Why? He is doing another yaga. They're all going, talking gloriously of that. So she says to Shiva, my father, so many are going, it's very tempting, I will go. My father need not invite me. Shiva said, yes, you are right. Father need not invite daughter under normal circumstances. But he hates me. When you go there, you will be insulted and you will die. And it exactly happened like that. It exactly happened like that. Then Shiva creates Virabhadra, destroys the Yajnayagas, cuts off the head of Daksha. Daksha's head he tried to cut in several ways. It couldn't be cut. Then finally it was cut on that Yajna Balipitam. Why? When you do Yajna, this is the purpose of Ashwamedha Yajna, Purusha Suktam. You have to offer yourself, the ego. That's why beautifully Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, offering to gods is inferior than offering yourself, everything to yourself. Right? So, Daksha Prajapati head was removed, and then Brahma mediates, comes, and goat's head was fixed. Is this a negative story? No. Daksha Prajapati has to do his duty, doing, but the ego is there to be corrected. Ego is bloated head. That head has to be cut, and another head with knowledge has to be given. That head has been fixed, and now he becomes Sattvic, and he praises Vishnu and Shiva. I have done so much of wrong to you. You have corrected me out of compassion, punished me, and avoided my suffering in hell. You have taken off my punishment in hell. So he praises. So that is the story of Daksha Prajapati. There are several clues here. What I told you, you must think over all of them. Then the next comes Dhruva. So first thing is Dharma, but with ego. Second is Artha by Dhruva, again with ego. Let us see Dhruva's story. Jaye Uttanapadasya Suniti Suruchi Tayoho Suruchi Prayasi Patyuhu Naitara. Uttanapada and the other man, two sons were born to Swayambhu Manu. I told you about 3 daughters. He has 2 sons. And one son is Uttanapada. He had 2 wives, Suruchi, Suniti. In Bhagavata, if you have to be a VIP, you should have minimum 2 wives. Otherwise, you are not considered for Bhagavata. Right? So he had 2 wives, Suruchi and Suniti. Does he alone have 2 wives? All of us have. What is that? The pleasant and the good. Suruchi, good. Suruchi, pleasant. Suniti, good. Shreyas and prayas. All of us have these 2 wives. And then, once, Ekada Suruchehe Putra Mangamarokya Lalayan Uttamam Naru Rukshantam Dhruvam Raja Abhyanandata. When this Suruchi's son was on the lap of Uttanapada, Dhruva, the wife of Suruchi, the son of Suruchi, Dhruva, son of Suruchi, wanted to sit on the other lap. Suniti says, you are not fit to sit there. If you want to sit there, you have to do tapas and be born in my womb. This Suruchi is like a servant. Suniti is like a servant. Sorry, I fumble because my mind is somewhere, right? My mind is in meditation, honest. So this Suniti is treated like a servant. You are not fit to be sitting on his lap, says Suruchi, and pulls him down. Navasta nrupate dishnyam bhavan arodu marhati tapasa aradhya purusham tasya eva sa anugrahena me garbhotvam sadhaya atmanam yadi ichasi nrupasana. If you want the nrupasana, the seat of the king, be born into my womb, then you can become fit. Now you are not fit to sit on his lap. This boy, Dirga Susanti Vrijinasya Parama Pashyati Balakama Bala. Then he, gasping, went to his mother and cried. And then the mother says, Satyam Surti Vihitam Bhavan me yad durbhagaya udare gruhitaha satyena ruddhasya vilajjate yam bharya itiva vodhu medaspatim. What Suruchi said is true, by my child. This old man is ashamed to even identify me as his wife. So she is right only. Suruchi says she is right only. And now what you should do? Tameva vascha ashraya bhrutya vasalam ananya bhave bhajasva purusham. If you want this position of the king. As Suruchi said, Tameva, that Vishnu alone, Bhajaswa, seek him, he alone can help you. Evam sanjalpitam matuhu akarnya arthagamam vachaha nischakrama pitus. 5-year-old boy. The mother said, yes, she is right. You should worship Vishnu for a better Janma. The 5-year-old boy, when she said that, she didn't think that he will leave the house. He left the house in search of Vishnu. She advised worship Vishnu, but she never thought this boy will leave the house. He left the house and went off in search of Vishnu. And then there is a beautiful verse taught by Suruchi to Dhruva. Mam amangalam tata paresh mamsta bhukte jano yet paradukkada sat. Your stepmother Suruchi might have scolded you. Do not entertain any bitterness towards her, because the bitterness that you have for others bounces back on you. How many mothers are teaching their children this? How many mothers are teaching? At such an extreme situation, Suruchi tells Dhruva, the bitterness if you have for, Suruti, I am fumbling the names, please you adjust, right? That Sunuti tells Dhruva that you should not entertain any bitterness towards Suruchi, because that will bounce back on you. And this boy then leaves, and on the way he sees Narada Muni. Narada Muni advises him, at this age, what is all this? Go back home. He says no. And he advises, he says, all this is all not correct. Dhruva says to Narada, yes, I agree with you, not correct. But I am hurt so much. My ego is hurt so much. I cannot go back. Teach me, if you know, how to meet Narayana. Then Narada Bhagavan gives him all description and says, go to Madhura, and meditate there. He gives all the descriptions of Narayana and gives the mantra also. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Repeat it 3 times, please. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And the boy goes, meditates, and then because, such a strict penance, first he eats, every week 1 Nellika, then probably every month, then 3 months. Then after some time, he was only eating air. So he had control over air. So the whole circulation of air in the world has stopped. So all the devas ran to Vishnu. Vishnu said, I know what's happening. This boy has become now Sarvatma. He has become one with all the souls. Therefore, whatever is happening to me, he has arrested the prana. Everybody is therefore feeling the Vayu not circulating. And he came there. The boy doesn't open his eyes because he is meditating on the form which Narayana said. So what Narayana did is, as long as that form is in his heart, he won't open his eyes. Through his power, he took off that form inside. From inside Dhruva. Dhruva opens the eyes and sees opposite to him Narayana, exact description of what Narada Muni has given. Exact description of what Narada Muni has given. What he has been meditating inside, he sees outside. He sees outside, and he was so emotional. He just wanted to praise Bhagavan. But 5-year-old boy, he has no vocabulary. He wanted to, but he is not able to do. Narayana knew this. So what he did is, with his Shanku, conch, he touched his cheek, and there flew Dhruvastuti. The first sloka, yo anta pravishya mama vachamimam prasuttam sanjeeva yatyakala shakti daraswadhamna anyam cha hasta charana sravanatwagadi pranam namo bhagavate purushaya tubhya. O Lord, you having entered into me, you have enlivened all my faculties, all my senses. To that Narayana I prostrate. And then the Dhruva Stuti is a beautiful story, this thing. And then Dhruva regrets. What did I do? Narayana came to me, I could have asked him mukti. I could have asked him to give himself. Because I was so polluted in my mind out of vengeance, I asked him to give the best position. Right? Yache tadantavat. Right? I went to the source where the Lord can cut off all these limitations, all the limitations. Having met him, I asked, give me the best position, the finite status. What did I do? He regrets, but Narayana says, don't worry, your vasanas have to go. You will exhaust them here, and then in the Dhruvachiti also, Brahma Mukti, ultimately you will reach me. And that was happens. Several stories happen. His cousin have been killed by Kubera's people, so he tried to take revenge, and Manu comes and says, this is not the way, we should not take revenge and all that. And then he meditates, and then he becomes a Gnani. That is Dhruva Stuti. Next is Prudu Maharaj. Prudu Maharaj Stuti, we will see tomorrow. Prudu and Prachina Barhi and Bharata. I tried to rush. I did not say anything that is not necessary. Gurudev is handling for you, right? And I cannot help. I am slow. He will only decide. Narayana. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna.
Uncle.
Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Lalita Bhajan, I missed it, sorry.
No, uncle. Today Ramesh ji said he will sing.
Yeah, whoever it is.
Yeah, okay. Namaste.
Yeah, Ramesh ji, sing.
Yes.
Sing.
Yeah.
At last, male voice.
Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram. Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram. Ramanarayanam Janaki Vallabham. Ramanarayanam Janaki Vallabham. कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं, कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं, तुम मीरा के जैसे बुलाते नहीं, तुम मीरा के जैसे बुलाते नहीं। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम रामनारायणम जानकी वल्लभम, रामनारायणम जानकी वल्लभम। कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं, कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं, बेर शबरी के जैसे हिलाते नहीं, बेर शबरी के जैसे हिलाते नहीं। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम रामनारायणम जानकी वल्लभम, रामनारायणम जानकी वल्लभम। कौन कहते हैं भगवान सोते नहीं, कौन कहते हैं भगवान सोते नहीं, माँ यशोदा के जैसे सुलाते नहीं, माँ यशोदा के जैसे सुलाते नहीं। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम रामनारायणम जानकी वल्लभम, रामनारायणम जानकी वल्लभम। कौन कहते हैं भगवान नाचते नहीं, कौन कहते हैं भगवान नाचते नहीं। तुम गोपी के जैसे नचाते नहीं, तुम गोपी के जैसे नचाते नहीं। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम। कौन कहते हैं भगवान नचाते नहीं, कौन कहते हैं भगवान नचाते नहीं। गोपियों की तरह तुम नाचते नहीं, गोपियों की तरह तुम नाचते नहीं। अच्युतम केशवम दामोदरम, अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम। अच्युतं केशवं राम नारायणं, अच्युतं केशवं राम नारायणं, कृष्ण दामोदरं वासुदेवं हरे, कृष्ण दामोदरं वासुदेवं हरे। श्रीधरं माधवं गोपिका वल्लभं, श्रीधरं माधवं गोपिका वल्लभं, जानकी नायकं रामचन्द्रं हरे, जानकी नायकं रामचन्द्रं हरे। नाम जपते चलो काम करते चलो, नाम जपते चलो काम करते चलो, हर समय कृष्ण का ध्यान करते चलो, हर समय कृष्ण का ध्यान करते चलो। अच्युतं केशवं कृष्ण दामोदरं, अच्युतं केशवं कृष्ण दामोदरं, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभं, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभं। याद आएगी उनको कभी ना कभी, याद आएगी उनको कभी ना कभी, कृष्ण दर्शन तो देंगे कभी ना कभी, कृष्ण दर्शन तो देंगे कभी ना कभी। अच्युतं केशवं कृष्ण दामोदरं, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभं। अच्युतं केशवं राम नारायणं, कृष्ण दामोदरं वासुदेवं हरे। श्रीधरं माधवं गोपिका वल्लभं, जानकी नायकं रामचन्द्रं हरे, जानकी नायकं रामचन्द्रं हरे, जानकी नायकं रामचन्द्रं हरे। हरि ओम।
Beautiful, sir. Ramesh ji, எப்படியும் மேல் மேல் தான். மேல்
All
மேல் தான்.
because of your grace, all because of all your grace and
Lovely, sir.
blessings.
Beautiful. சரி, நான் வந்து I fumbled on this Suruchi and Suniti. For you to correct, I will give you a clue. Suruchi means good taste, you know, makeup, dress,
Yes.
good taste, you know, all mod girl. That is Suruchi. Suniti with the right values. Suniti is Dhruva's mother. Suruchi is the Patta Mahishi, right? Patta Mahishi means the main queen. Suruchi, the mod lady. Suniti is with high values, but the other lady, right? So Suniti
Isn't it Niti? Niti also means values, isn't it? Niti is value or law. So
yeah,
good
that's
law.
what I'm telling. Niti is values. Suniti is right values. Suruchi is taste. You know, Shreyas and Prayas. So that's how you correct, because I have fumbled a few times these names. Narayana.
Yeah. Yes. Narayana. Hari Om.
Thank you, uncle.
Hari Om.
धन्यवाद।
Hari Om, uncle. Thank you.
Thank you.